Why are French women so praised for their makeup, for the way they dress? There's something so attractive, so magnetic about a French woman's style. And as I've been living in Paris for the past 10 years, I have seen my makeup style evolving and getting more refined as I get inspired by the French culture. This video is a curation of makeup products that exude the French elegance. There's this myth that French women don't apply a lot of makeup, but I'm here to tell you that they do apply quite a lot of makeup. But the way they apply it, their technique, and their eye towards beauty is very different. So today's video is not only about showing you the products, but also teaching you the technique to get to that refined, beautiful French look. I'm Andreea Ali. I'm a celebrity makeup artist based in Paris, and here is where beauty meets taste, technique, and everything genuinely exceptional. All right, here's where I keep all my makeup. This is a curation of everything that I think represents French style. And here's how I generally carry my makeup. I try not to have more than this with me at all times. This is a bag that I got on my birthday a few years ago. And as soon as I got it, maybe like a month after I received it, I was on a trip and I had a fragrance, I remember so well, it was a Victoria Beckham fragrance inside, and it broke, guys, and it has destroyed the inside. And unfortunately, LV does not repair the bags. It's still damaged since, as you can see a little bit here, but we're going to ignore that. Here's where I keep my brushes. These are all personal brushes. They will rotate, but I would say this is a good curation of the brushes that I use the most for each and every step that I need. Here's where I keep kind of everything that comes in these elongated shapes. So it could be mascara, it could be concealer, even some lipsticks. This is like a really good container to store everything because obviously it's transparent. This is from a brand called Cadence. If you have bought this, you know that this plastic gets stained very quickly. And I've tried to clean it with everything, and the only thing that works is this. This is the Parian Spirit. It's a professional makeup brush cleaner. If you're a makeup artist, you know this is la base for your brushes. This is something that will clean your synthetic brushes if you're on set, only for synthetic brushes. However, I find that if you put this on a cotton pad, it will clean this beautifully. As you can see, it looks like it's new, but this has been very, very used and very loved. Like, I love this container. And then here's pretty much all the makeup that I use every day. They will change, of course, because I do like to test new products. I'm going to do my makeup with everything that I have in this sort of capsule collection that inspires me to create a Parisian makeup look. What really describes the French, the Parisian look is how effortless it looks. And especially when it comes to complexion, I would say they're never into covering everything. They embrace imperfections more than any other style I've seen. So for my base, I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham Beauty foundation. This is the one created in collaboration with Augustinus. This is first skincare and then foundation. Gotta shake this foundation really well. And the reason why I chose this foundation is exactly for that effortless look, for that skin-like finish. As you can see, this is undetectable, but it evens out the skin tone. Now you could apply this foundation with your fingers and you will have more of that stretchy, that thin layer on your skin. It's so much different when you apply your foundation with your fingers because you can stretch it to the max. Or you can use a brush, and I love this Hermes brush. It's just wow. Not only that it applies your foundation flawlessly, but it's so elegant. I mean, if Hermes is not French beauty, then I don't know what else is. And this is not just expensive for the sake of being expensive. This is an impeccable brush. This is so well made. Although I would have to say I have quite a few concealers in my edit. Nothing comes in mind easier and faster than Radiant Creamy Concealer from NARS when I think about the French woman makeup. They love this concealer, and for a good reason. This has been my go-to concealer for over 10 years. It's such an iconic concealer that you can always rely on. There are all these new launches that, of course, I love to try. And, you know, as a makeup artist, I cannot wait to try new products. But there is such refinement about this formula. There is the perfect balance between having a reliable, high performance, great colors, and beautiful finish that you can make it more opaque. You can sheer it out. It's up to you what you want from this concealer, but it's so versatile. A brush that I love for my concealer is this Hourglass. And boy, a little goes a long way with the NARS Radiant Creamy. This is in the shade Custard. Look at how it just erases the dark circles. And if there's something that I have noticed about French makeup ever since I moved here, is that the one product they won't skip when it comes to their complexion would be concealer and bronzer. Those two are like deeply rooted in their routine. I'm not gonna lie, this brush makes the whole process so much easier. Here's where my touch as a makeup artist comes and creates that flawless complexion. So we have the foundation, we have the concealer. However, you can still see small imperfections on my skin. Now, of course, I could go on and apply a second layer of foundation, but it's not necessary. If you think about it, the imperfections that I have on my skin, maybe it's like what? 10-20% of the skin. It's not that important, right? If you look at the bigger scheme. So instead of applying another layer, I will just spot conceal it. And as you can see, this NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer has seen all my love. I'm almost at the end with this product. If you want to spot conceal, this is the product. Why? Because it has that slightly drier, more matte consistency, has more coverage, and I feel like it will dry faster than your typical concealer, which means that if you take it with a small brush, and this is a 23 brush from Rephr, look at this, you can just apply wherever you actually need it. This way the skin remains impeccable. And with your finger, you just want to go over just to make sure the product is melted in your skin. I have all of these little spots lately, and it's been a lot, like little brown spots. Must have something to do with age, because I do protect my skin so well from the sun. If somebody would ask me, do you think French women are more into powders or creams? I would say definitely powders. Lately, I have seen a lot more women being interested in the cream versions, but I would say that typically French women are very much into powders. And you know, that is reflected also in their manufacturing. So in France, you have the best powder manufacturers. If you look at the most precious, luxurious formula, you turn around and you check out where it's made, you'll see that the best formulas are made in France. Because French women love powder and they don't like a shiny skin. I would say they don't love like a super dry skin, but for sure, the very dewy, the overly glowy skin is something you will not see here. Of course, I'm going to use powder, and I have Mario powder that I'm going to use under eyes and on the center of the face. The reason why I like this Mario powder is because it's not like the other powders, because you could apply it under the eyes and it's still looking really beautiful. Not drying, not overly opaque. I make sure that the concealer did not crease under my eyes. And then I took a little bit of powder on my powder puff. Doing this gesture, especially under the eyes, not only that you're going to set your concealer in place, but you also press all the layers together and you have longevity and beautiful finish. In my Parisian bag, I have quite a lot of bronzers, but I have these two when it comes to powder bronzers. They're completely different. So this is a baked formula that I love for its finish, but also for its color. So this particular color, Amalfi, it's from Saie, by the way. It's really, really nice. But again, two completely different formulas. I'm going to try to put it on the back of my hand so you understand the color and why I like it. So it has that beautiful, not too orangey, not too red. It has even a tiny bit of olive in it, which I love because that's exactly how I tan, with that olive tint almost, where this Dior, if you touch this Dior, you understand what I mean by French powders. This is so buttery. It feels so soft. I mean, completely different than the baked powder, of course. But in general, everything that comes from Dior in terms of powder is just that typical French formula where it's so luxurious, so beautiful. I don't know how much you're able to see, but it's slightly more pink. Now, the best brush, of course, to use your bronzer is going to be my brush that I've created in collaboration with Rephr. This is not available anymore. It has sold out for the second drop when we had this brush available. So we decided to make it permanent, but it's going to take a while until this brush is going to come back. The reason why I like this brush, it's obviously for this fantastic bristle combination. This is a shodo style, and it's inspired by the Japanese calligraphy. So no matter how heavy-handed you are, this is never going to apply your powder in this uneven layer. This brush is going to be your best friend when it comes to flawless application. Makeup artists love this brush. A lot of people bought 2, 3, 4 brushes because you're truly going to use it for all your powder steps. Skin is so beautifully refined with this powder bronzer, and what's really particular about French makeup in general is that you cannot identify the product on someone's face. You cannot say, oh, I can see blush, or I can see very obvious contour. The thing that describes the French makeup and the Parisian makeup the most is that timeless beauty. They will never embrace trends. And speaking of trends, moving on to blush, it's just that one product that I don't see a lot here. Compared with the US or UK, where makeup is embraced in a different way, French makeup never really follows trends, and that you can see in clothing as well. If you watch the majority of people on the streets, they don't really follow necessarily trends. They maybe take a few pieces from whatever is trending, but they have always had this very easily recognizable timeless style, right? So that translates all the way to beauty. That's why when it comes to blush, I'm going to use a little bit of blush, and I think that the one that I can totally see women using would be number 44 from YSL. For this application, of course, I'm going to use the 2609 brush that I've created with Rephr, and I'm going to apply this. And this is going to be applied right on the apples of the cheeks, but very, very subtle, very delicately. The one thing that I remember very clearly French clients would ask me would be not to use blush, or like, pas trop de blush. You know, when you're doing someone's makeup as a makeup artist for the very first time, you kind of ask them, like, is there anything that you absolutely dislike about makeup? Is there like any rules that you personally have? So I am aware of, and very, very often I get this, like, pas trop de blush. Meaning like not a lot of blush, which in translation means no blush. Listen, there are blushes and there are French blushes. If you're looking for a super refined, luxurious formula and color, I would have to say, because this color will suit so many skin tones, this is so beautiful. As you can see, I've applied it and it's barely there. Moving on to eyes. When Violette came out with Plume eyeshadows, this is the definition of French eye makeup. These eyeshadows have beautiful shades, very different, very sophisticated, very refined, more on the neutral side, right? But as you apply it, and as I'm going to apply it, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. These are not your typical, one swipe and you get a ton of pigment type of shadow. Plume literally means feather. So it's that feathery effect eyeshadow. I would say the one that you're going to love the most is going to be Lait au Café, which is like your typical beautiful, not too warm, not too cool, neutral shade. So I'm going to start with this. I'm using a Rephr 14 brush. This is a barely there eyeshadow. Then I'm going to take Charbon Fumé, which is this brown gray eyeshadow that is so beautiful. It's not too intense. And I've taken a 03 brush from Rephr, and this is going to go at the base of my lashes for that smoky effect. Because the one thing that French women love is a good smoky eye. But there's something so beautiful about the way they do it. It's so imperfect, so cool looking, I would say, that with the same brush, I just make sure that this is very nicely smoked out. And I do the same thing on the lower lash line. What's really great about these eyeshadows is that they will not have any fallouts. Zero. They feel almost like a gel texture when you touch them with your finger. Do you see how discreet the difference is when I apply this Charbon Fumé on the lower lash line? So I haven't applied anything here, but here I have a little bit of that eyeshadow and it just hugs the eye so beautifully. Mascara is one product that French women do not shy away from. They will apply it in a few layers actually. And I find that this mascara from Sisley, this is so different because of this beautiful brush. So at first, maybe when you see this brush, you wouldn't think much of it because it's so thin, it looks like a comb, right? But look how it lifts the lashes. And Sisley is so well known for creating makeup that is actually good for you. So for example, this mascara has a lot of caring ingredients for your lashes. As you use it, your lashes become stronger, more dense, all that while having a high performing product, because this is not going to come on the lower lash line. It's not going to smudge. And I will have to say this wand is perfect for lower lashes as well. This eye look is something that I see so often. This could truly be like the definition of French eye look. Eyebrows. I've mentioned this before. French women are not that much into eyebrows. I mean, lately, yes, because, with the social media, I think everybody is into everything. However, I find that, I don't know, I don't see at all. Even when eyebrows were trending and like that very obvious eyebrow was trending in like 2016, French were absolutely not embracing it. So in this curated French bag, I added the most natural eyebrow product you could possibly use. And that is the Brow Powder Duo from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is in the shade Taupe. The brush I'm using is 7B from Anastasia Beverly Hills as well. And listen, you've probably noticed something different with my eyebrows. I have had them laminated. So it's that kind of service you get. You could also do at home where they use this product that will soften your eyebrows and it will kind of lift them. So you can see normally they're kind of like this naturally. But with that lamination effect, you have this flat, lifted effect. And they're very disciplined, so it's pretty helpful. It's just one less step that you need to think about. It's almost like you don't even need an eyebrow gel. So I will use a little bit of this eyebrow powder just in between the brows to give it more structure, but for sure I'm not going to have them done perfectly, right? Because we want that undone look. French women are not huge fans of trends, like I've mentioned before. Therefore, the overlined trend, it's not something that you see very often here. It's not very embraced. However, I'm going to use the lip liner the way I see women use lip liner, which is in a very diffused, very blurry way. I'm going to take this Westman Atelier. This is so good. I've recently discovered this lip liner. It's in the shade Biscuit. The colors of this lip liner are so good. And it's perfect to be smudged because it has that texture where it leaves you time to play. It's not going to set. I've taken a Rephr's Shodo 01. Now this is Effet la bouche mordue. So I'm lining the lips, but with the brush, I just go over and soften the edge. What the lip liner is doing in this case is not necessarily creating that perfect border, but it creates contrast around the lips. Having that contrast around the lips allows you to use any lipstick you want. Now, iconic lipsticks, I would have to say, are Boy from Chanel. Chanel Boy is iconic because it's not your typical beautifying like pretty pink, or obviously this is no pink, this is no red. It's that perfect beige lipstick with a fantastic finish, almost like shell finish, if you wish, like pearly shell finish. This is so gorgeous. It's exactly the type of neutral that a French woman would wear. Another iconic, I would say, color, especially in spring, is this peachy pink, or a variation of this. This is from Louis Vuitton. This is in the shade 106. Nothing is more French than this lipstick. It's the haute couture of lipsticks. Such a gorgeous color, right? It's like a classic. But when I think about the Parisian woman, I also think about this bitten lip color, right? This is from Chanel. It's actually new in the shade 203. This is the Rouge Coco Flash. Such a beautiful classic, right? When it comes to evening makeup, I would say that most likely a French woman would do red lip. Either red lip or smoky eye. Sometimes they would actually do them together. I have actually seen a lot more smoky eye, like black smoky eye with red lipstick here than anywhere else, which is such a paradox because you wouldn't expect that. However, the one product that French women always have in their bag would be a gloss. Not necessarily a lipstick, but a gloss. And you hear this very often. If you're in the toilet of a restaurant, you hear women say, "T'as pas du gloss?" Especially like friends in between them, because they will share the lipstick. So for that French unexpected touch, because I'm sure that you wouldn't expect French women to use gloss, I am going to apply something that's not on the market yet, but I think it's so, so French. Now this is truly beautiful because although it has pearls, it is not your typical peach or pink lip topper. It's so incredibly hydrating, and it transforms any lipstick into a cooler shade that will give this freshness to your lips immediately. It's something that I've created over a year ago. I think the first time I showed you, maybe it was like 2 years ago. So it's not on the market, it's mine. But I think it's so French, definitely defines the typical Parisian woman. We came at the end with this makeup look. However, I wanted to add one more product, and not because Parisians are using this often is because I think it's something that French women could benefit a lot from using this one product. That would be a setting mist. That's something that is so underrated here. And if you're French, I would have to say a setting mist is something that can truly change your makeup game. You don't have to touch up because it has that longevity power. So I could not have a setting mist in this curated French bag, even if the product is not popular. All right, la honte, French people call it, because I am a little bit ashamed to admit that I have switched the product, the original product inside this packaging. So Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray is a setting spray that will set your makeup in place. And I think that it works for the majority of people. However, I find that is slightly too drying for me at this time in my life. Maybe my skin is slightly drier these days. Therefore, I have used this packaging to put in the powder melt from One Size. I just love this for travel. It's so practical. I cannot find anything similar that is, tiny and you could put it in your makeup bag. So you might be reading Airbrush Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, but it's actually powder melt from One Size. Now, what this product gives me is luminosity without feeling sticky or tacky or that uncomfortable feeling, right? I'm done with the makeup. However, I wanted to take you through this curated collection of products just to give you an idea about what else I have, because I cannot put everything at once on my skin. I'm going to go in no particular order. A beautiful brown eye pencil and a classic black. These are both from Victoria Beckham Beauty. This one is in cinnamon, that beautiful pearly brown cinnamon shade that is perfect for every skin tone, right? And it's not too intense. And of course, a black. You must have a black. I also have brown mascara. I have this one from Victoria Beckham Beauty, but I also have Lash Clash, which, if you know me, you know how much I love Lash Clash. I find that this brown is truly beautiful if you're looking for more of a rich brown. Brown mascara is something that I definitely see often, especially worn by women who do not want to have that intense eye look. This Chanel lipstick has been on the market for so long. It's your classic liquid lipstick that you apply and it does not budge. And on the other side, you have a clear lip gloss for that perfect shine of the lips. I would say this is totally a classic in the French makeup culture. Not a classic in terms of the brand, because this is a French brand. However, it's more new. Violette Rephr creates these gorgeous lipsticks. And this one in particular, this is in Amour Fou. This color, this red, is exceptional. If you are looking for the most gorgeous red, you're gonna get your hands on Pétale Bouche lipstick in the shade Amour Fou. Although a cream product, this is so much the Parisian woman vibe because it's a cream bronzer that transforms into a matte finish once you apply it on the skin. Not dewy, not super glowy, not uncomfortable, just beautiful, natural matte. And you have two shades for creating that perfect bronzer. I think this is, again, maybe not something you would expect as a Parisian typical French look, but as a makeup artist, I'm telling you, this truly is. And the last product comes from Wisman Atelier Super Loaded Tinted Highlight. Now, this is not your typical highlighter that is dry or super dewy. This, again, is a cream product, but as you apply it, it transforms into this beautiful powder. As soon as you touch it, you see there's no stickiness and it has that natural, beautiful glow. It depends on how much you would apply it, but this is definitely a French touch product. Although it's not a French brand, for me this screams Parisian chic. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know that you love these type of videos. I feel like I get a lot of questions about my rings. These are from a French brand called Helinga, and I've recently found them in Paris. And it's a if you know, you know type of brand. All the cool girls are wearing Helinga, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on these gorgeous rings. They're custom made right here in Paris. And the earrings that I always wear, they are from a brand called Idyl. And so is this necklace with a tiny, very delicate diamond as a pendant. All the info is in the description down below, as well as somewhere here on the screen for the products. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!